Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps, Daily Teachings, Lotto Friday special. Before we start, quick disclaimer: anything we discuss in this video, any trade recaps, any trades that I show you, all these are for educational and educational purpose only. We do not provide any financial advice, do not make any financial decisions based upon anything that we teach. We are not financial advisors. This is purely an educational video. All right. So that being said, guys, let's start with the recap for our series on the Lotto Friday special. So we'll talk about a lot of our trades today. We'll focus on the options. We talk about a couple of losers. Then we'll also talk about the huge winners, huge winners, and how you could maximize your trades, your consistency, trading those Lotto options, the risk reward behind Lotto options. You can watch the full playlist as well. Before we start, just a quick introduction to anybody who's new to my YouTube, new to our X accounts, new to our community. I do these trade recaps and teachings to help you understand the setups that we trade every day. So you can use these concepts and can trade on your own, with your own conviction, with your own confidence. So we trade a repeatable system called Ripster EMA Cloud system. This system is traded by thousands of traders across the world, not only in my community. It has been changing lives for many years. So everything we do is based upon a system. Either we swing trade, day trade, or we do any investments. It's based upon our repeatable concepts. Not only Ripster EMA Cloud, but many concepts that I have been teaching over the years that I teach again and again. So anyways, every day in the pre-market, we make a pre-market plan. We come up with a plan. We follow that plan. I make this plan live, and usually sometimes on the voice in the pre-market as well. Based upon this plan, we trade the markets. We have an initial support level. We have an resistance level, and then we have a game plan that I provide the community traders to trade these setups based upon that game plan. We have earnings plays, we have news plays, we have our Mag 7, Magnificent 7, the big 7 stocks, the index stocks. We list a news on them and we make a plan for them. Then we have upgrades and downgrades. And we provide all that. We make this plan in the pre-market. Not only that, and I did tweet this out as well. So we'll go through some of these plays which triggered. In addition to that, we also trade something called a day 2, day 3 setup. So day 2, day 3 setup is a repeatable strategy that I teach again and again. And we'll talk about a few of our day 2, day 3 setups today, like HIMS and Micron, and we will discuss all those day 2 setups as well. A repeatable strategy there we have. In addition to that, we provide the levels for the futures in the pre-market, so the traders can trade futures using Ripster EMA Clouds. We also have a dedicated webinar on that future that it's also on my YouTube. You can watch it. We also trade crypto stocks. I provide the crypto levels in the pre-market. Our team provides that in the pre-market to the traders, so they can use these levels and Ripster EMA Clouds, levels and clouds together to trade those setups. We also share daily levels for SPY, QQQ ETFs, and all the Magnificent 7 stocks. We also trade IPOs. We also trade low floats. We have a low float channel as well. We provide those plays as well in the community. Our community is the largest trading community online, one of the largest. We are not an alert service. We are not a signal service. We do not promise traders money. We do not do cash grab. We do not show P&Ls, but we are the largest trading community trading with this repeatable system. I'm usually live on the voice first few hours of the market open, and thousands of traders are on our trading floor all day long sharing ideas. We have a lot of tools in the community. We have 3-4 option scanners that you can use freely. We have a stock scanner available on the SkinShare. Some of our senior traders share their own scanners. We have halt, unhalt alerts, breaking news alerts, breaking news voice alerts, Ripster Cloud alerts, and a lot of tools there. They're like $400, $500, $600 a month, which is freely provided to the members of our community. We trade as a family, helping each other find success in the market. I'm usually on the voice, but I do share my updates in my dedicated feed. I'll show you my time-stamped guidance, be winners or losers. I will show you everything. That being said, let's start the trade recaps. All right, so let's start with SPY QQQ today. So SPY QQQ was going pretty good until the midday, I think, when Trump was speaking. But anyways, regardless, market is pretty bullish, right? We are at all-time highs. We had an all-time high breakout on SPY today before the pullback. QQQ continues to break out of the all-time highs. So everything is bullish, right? So let's see what was our pre-market plan on the market. Our plan was simple. PCE data, inflation data came was bullish. It was low. So the plan was watch out for any profit taking first. Use wicks levels of 1630. Any bounce, we see gap fill, cautious of the chop. Only long the market over 3450 and the pre-market highs. So we had our plan on SPY and QQQ. So let's look here what the market was doing here. So let's see. Let's go to SPY QQQs. Let's take a look. So So SPY QQQ, you see this candle. So this was the 512 curls long setup. So this was a 512 curls long setup. You could long here. I was on the voice. I told the traders there's a 512 curl long setup, but the real setup came on this breakout. That was a 10 a.m. breakout long, both for Nasdaq ES futures and also for the SPY and QQQ traders. And let's see. Let me show you here. So this was the long on SPY. QQQ was not that as strong as SPY. SPY was. SPY was much better long in the morning, and the plan, as you see, the VIX was kind of breaking down. So I'm not going to spend too much time on SPY QQQ. I cover it every day, so you can watch the previous recaps as well. But this was the long, right? So this was the long right here. That's what I told the traders to long in the community, our Ripster Cloud call, and then the breakout, right? So we were breaking out, we were flagging here, and this was the flag breakout. I told the traders, and it ran up, it ran up nicely from 613 to 616. The range is not a lot these days on SPY QQQ, but regardless, there was a trade to be had on SPY QQQ. Middle of the day, we broke 512s here and 3450. That's when a lot of traders got out, but a lot of traders also shorted the market because, when 512 is breaking down, when VIX is breaking out, you can buy the puts, you can short it, and a lot of the traders did do that in the community. This was middle of the day. I had stepped away, but there was an opportunity to make money on this flush, right? So first long is here, then your short setup is here, you cover in the MTFs. Now, in the end of the day, what we saw was that there was a call happening in the market. So this was the call, and a lot of traders did take those calls. I can show you the tweet here as well. You see, this is the call, right? So this is the call, and this is where you take the longs if you want to scalp it. If you had a good day, you don't really need to, but you can trade these calls. You see MTF clouds always act as a support. If you take a trade long at MTF clouds, that's usually a C minus setup, because we do not know would it curl or would it reject at 512s. But regardless, it curled over the 512s. That's when I said everything bouncing and curling into the close, and then it really squeezed pretty hard. A lot of our traders in the community really did pretty well on that curl. The options, that's the power of the Lotto options, right? If you trade those Lotto options, you need to understand the risk is 100%, right? I will show you a few options there. The risk is 100%, and then you're trying to make few 100% on that trade. It doesn't happen all the time. I think there was a rebalancing today or something, but there was this big squeeze end of the day. If you understand options, they have lost all their time value. The probability of those options going into money is almost close to zero. That's why they're priced on pennies. But when this move happens, like this, look, you see Frying Pan took his call from $2 to $15, right? So that's kind of the crazy moves happen. It's not something that you go crazy sizing. If you want to play end of the day bounces, you have to risk 100%. Let's say your account is $10,000, you want to risk $100, right? It's not that you buy something for $2,000. You cannot risk more. That's the key in winning in the options, right? It's like a lottery ticket. You buy $100 lottery ticket, you want to make few 100% on that trade, because it's high probability it goes to zero. So even if you take 10 of these trades, 5 of them go to zero, but 3 of them go 600-700%, or 400, 304%, you still will be green. So that's the common problem with the traders who risk too much. I have done extensive amount of videos on risk management, on a lot of options, how to trade those. You can watch that. But if you want to look at some of the options, let's look at this SPX call, right? So what was this? This was the SPX call for 6170. You see that it was barely trading at $1.60 at end of the day, right? You buy like $120 two contracts, they went to $5, right? It went from that call. Then it all happened from that call that I'm showing you, right? So let's see here. You see this call. This is where it started to push. I mean, it started to bounce from the MTF, but even if you took the calls, you could easily take that from $1 to $5, right? Some of them even went crazy. But the point here is you have to understand the risk. What was the setup? Setup was the end of the day call. Is it a very high probability setup? Not always. So do not get carried away. But regardless, if you're an experienced trader, you know the risk reward. You see Mixu, when some of those went 1100%, 2600%. Mixu's day trading account went up 35%. So these are repeatable setups, guys. These are repeatable setups. But a lot of option risk is completely different than many traders understand. The reason a lot of traders get destroyed is on this setup, they would put huge risk. You cannot put huge risk, because if this swipe didn't happen, you will instantaneously lose all your capital to zero. So never do that, right? So it was a great trade, end of the day, great calls. Experienced traders did make some fun money there, and the turning their trades into a crazy run. As you see in the community, a lot of traders were trading that. You see this Indy got it. He got it at $1.85. He sold those at 7.50 because of this end of the day squeeze. So pawn had a bunch of those option flows, went from 200%, 120%, 130%. And sometimes trader will sell it early, like SK Trades bought it for 40 cents, sold it for 70 cents. It still made 100% of his capital, but they went as far as $14, right? So these kind of things happen, but that's why you size super duper small. Let's say you bought it for $200 lottos and you make $400-500. You leave one contract. The way the power of this end of the day squeezes, guys, you can literally make exponential there. But as long as you understand the risk, right, it will not always happen. What happens when traders see these kind of moves on a Lotto Friday or any other day, they think it will happen every time and they would risk a lot. The point I'm trying to make is that yes, there was a setup too long. Yes, this squeeze returned exponentially, but not to get carried away. Yes, you can do it, but you need to manage your risk. Anyways, so that was Spike QQQ today. Just wanted to show that there's so much volatility and so much opportunities in the market today. You could long this open, which a lot of traders long. You short this with the Ripster Clouds, and you could trade end of the day. So there were 3 trades you could do on Spike QQQ on a Lotto option Friday. All right, so let's look at one of our big trades this morning, Nike. And if you look at the game plan that I tweeted this morning, what was the plan on Nike? Let's go back here. So the plan on Nike was pretty simple. Long over 68, gap and crap under it. Breakout is over $70. You see that? 70, 68, bullish bias. So I gave this plan in the pre-market. Every trader had this plan right at the open. Just when I saw the strength, because if I always look at the daily chart, right? When I was looking at the daily chart on Nike, I could see that the daily chart on Nike is really, really very bullish, and it's reclaiming support, and there's a certain resistance here around 74 area. So it was pretty bullish, right? There was this breakout yesterday. So it was a gap and go setup. Why was it a gap and go setup? Let me show you. So it was a gap and go setup because it pushed over that resistance of $70. You draw this rectangle, you know that it's going to go. The cleaner the levels, better the setup, right? You see up, down, up, down, up, down, breakout. That's why I told the traders long out of the gates, risk sank 69.50, gap fill 72. The first target was 72. We hit our target at 72. We pulled back to the 512 clouds. We made and I told the traders you can dip add here on this 512 curls, put the stops at 71. You see the 71 stops, you put the stops there. As we start to move up, you move your stops up, and then we hit our next target. I gave the target in the morning I gave was 73.20. We hit that. Next target I gave was 74. We hit our 74 target as well. At that point, we sell everything, just keep runners. Once we break the 512s, we get out. You can short scalp it from 512 to 34.50. That's another one of my repeatable setup. But the main money to be made was on this Nike run. All right. So you see the daily chart, you see the pre-market planning. A lot of traders on the Twitter as well, X as well, made good returns on this one. We will look at a loser as well, but this was a high confidence long trade. But let me show you the options, right? How you would have traded it. So this was a 72 calls, right? If you took the 72 calls right out of the gate, they went from 30 cents all the way to $1.20, right? Your $300, you turn into $1,000. But again, because we pulled back, right? If you see that, we pulled back on right here, but the options pulled back almost 70%. That's why the Lotto Fridays, they're dangerous, right? So you have to cut it, take profit, but you can get back in. You can trade shares, you can trade next week's options, because this lot option is losing the time value. That's why you see they ran from 30 cents to $1.20 and they came right back to 50 cents. Now you could trade the same option on the call, right? You can add back because we are holding, or you can just add something else like 71 calls or next week's calls, or you can use your profits that you made in the morning to add back. Let's say you sold and made $1,000, you add again with $300-400, and this option then went to $2. You see this move and this move on the 72 calls. So those calls went again from 40 cents to 4 times your profit. But the key here is to understand the risk, because this 40 cents you're risking everything, because if it breaks here you will lose, it will go to 0. But and you see that once because Nike did not close over 72, it came back. I think it closed. Let's see where it closed. It did close around there, but you see it lost all its time value and all its intrinsic value because it came right back, crashed right back, and lost all the value. So you have to be super fast covering those lot options. Make sure you understand how the lot options work. Watch my videos, watch my education that I tweet, or if you are in a community, watch the lot option webinars. So that's how the trade was on Nike. Just wanted to point out how you could have traded these lot options. Beautiful day on Nike. And let's go to the next one. All right, so next one we're going to talk about is HIMS. Let's look at HIMS. So what was happening on HIMS today? Let's see what was happening on HIMS today. So HIMS, guys, was my number 1 day 2 day 3 setup. Why was that? Let's take a look. You see here, day 2 dips to setup, HIMS number 1, day 2, day 3 setup. We also were profitable trade on HIMS even yesterday. Why was that? If you look at the chart on the Ripster Clouds, you see that bearish, 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 choppy, pop and drop. Yesterday was the bullish calls. Held the 3450. This one broke 3450, but this one held 3450, pushed over the 1 hour MTF clouds. That meant it's trying to reverse. And not only that, look at the daily chart. Always analyze your daily charts. So I looked at the daily chart yesterday and I saw that it's making this range. I saw that it's making that range, and if it pushes over that range, then it's gonna be breakout. That is why I put it as my number 1 day 2 day 3 setup. Support I gave 46, resistance I gave 47. Traders in the community, as soon as the 47 broke out, everybody got long. Number 1 day 2 day 3 play. The target I gave was 49.50. Second target I gave was 50. Stops I gave was 47. We hit our 49.50 target pretty soon. That's when we moved our stops up to 49. Then we also hit our 50 target. We broke the 50. Next target I gave was 52.30. Right, because there's a 20 EMA on daily chart right here. We did completely hit that, but we went almost close to that, and then it flushed all the way back, and then we closed out right here. That's why you have to take profit when the trade is working on your side. You know, let me show you the power of the Lotto options. Let's say you want to risk, usually I say stick close to the money. So ideally I would tell my traders to buy the 48 Lotto options. So let's look at the 48 Lotto options. You see that? So you see that HIMS ran from, what was it? Let's take a look. HIMS ran from 47 breakout that I gave all the way to 52. And what did the options on 48 calls? That ran from the 80 cents to $4, right? Your $800 turned to $4,000. You know, you take some off as it goes 100%, leave the rest. You take $800 off. The rest of the 800 will make you another $1,500, $1,600. You end up making $2,000 or $2,400 on that trade. And that's why you sell everything here, and once it comes back, you sell everything here. Even if you bought here, you held till we broke the clouds here, still you got out in the profit. We were still in the intrinsic value, intrinsic money. That's how you trade Lotto options. That's how you find your setups, guys. That's how you, like everybody asks me, Rip, how are you on top of everything? Because I prepare for my community. I make sure I have the best play focused for my community, right? That's how I'm top of those plays. That's how HIMS was amazing day 2 long for everybody. Beautiful trade. Let's look at another day 2 here. So the next day 2 we're going to look at is Micron. So what was Micron doing? Let's take a look here. So Micron was a good breakout, but it was not as good as HIMS, right? So it was a long here. Nice push to 127, big dump. So everybody stopped out here. You know, if you added here, of course you're going to lose, but your entry is right here, or your entry is right here, right? And as it pushed up, you just have to get out. So it didn't really work out all the way for us, but you know, it was like it did not hold. Once it didn't hold the MTF clouds, you know that it's not going to work. So as you see the difference between HIMS and Micron, right? You see that HIMS was very strong for last 2 days. The daily chart was pretty nice. It was trading over the 1 hour MTF cloud. It broke the 50 MTF cloud. But Micron was a kind of disappointment because it could not hold the 1 hour MTF cloud. You could actually short Micron, you know, to make up for that long loser, but you can see that Micron pushed higher and broke down, and it was a failed breakout of this level. So that's why Micron did not really end up working out for us. If you take a couple of dollars, that's fine, but we were looking for a bigger move. So Micron was not a good trade, but you should have got out with a scratch loss on this one. All right, let's talk about another loser this morning. Our other loser this morning was Oklo. Oklo was our loser. Let's take a look here. So Oklo was a long right at the open. It did push to 62, and then it dumped right away, and we stopped out and took a loss. Let's see how the options would have worked down on Oklo. So let's say Oklo is breaking out over the 60 bucks. You know, you get your 60 calls. Let's take a look here, and let's take a look at 60 calls on that. You see those 60 calls did push from 40 cents all the way to $2, right? That's how fast they go. So let's see if I can show you here. You see that they pushed from morning to 250, right? From here to 250 or dollar to 250. So, and it was good. I mean, that's when it pushed. If I go to the 1 minute chart, I can show you that Oklo was an opportunity. That's why I tell everybody to move the stops, break even. I can show you that. So if you take a look at Ben's in the community, he is still green in Oklo, even after the failed breakout, because he moved his stops up. I'm still green. I moved my stops up. Your teachings are all next level, because I tell everybody to move your stops up. Once it's moving, you should move your stops up. So you get out break even. You have to be fast. because it's moved $2 for you, and this is the morning trade. It moved $2 for you, and you have to get out or put the stops break even, right? So that was Oklo. I'm calling it a loser because I was not looking for just one scalp, although many traders were able to get out of it, but a lot of traders did lose on it in the community. But again, like I'm showing you that that option, right? If you bought it at $20, $50, you have to take that 50% loss. Don't allow it to go to 100%. We assume it's 100% risk, but it's 100% risk when it's holding the system. If it's not holding the system, you know that I'm going to lose, so you just got it, right? Take the 50% loss and move on, and try to make the some other good setups, just like I showed you Nike, or I'm going to show you Circle. Those were good setups. So anyways, Oklo, loser. Let's go to the next one. We also had another loser in the community. That was Apple. The Mag 7 was behaving pretty weird today. I mean, S&P was pretty strong, but it was not the Magnificent 7 which were taking it. It was the other stocks which were taking it. So anyways, let's look at the plan on Apple. Let's see what was the plan and how did we trade it and why did we lose on Apple. The Apple, had some news. The resistance was 202. I told the traders to long it over 202. So when we broke out over 202, we longed it. It hit 203s. Then it pulled back, 3450. Bounced, pulled back. I usually, even 512 or 3450 are close, you can hold it, but it didn't really work the way I was looking for it to work. Yes, it bounced here, it gave you another chance to get out, but it never could push over this yesterday's resistance. We always want to see the stock pushing over yesterday's highs, pushing over yesterday's resistance, but Apple could not do that. That's why we got out of the Apple. So Apple was a losing idea as well. All right, so next one, the biggest trade of the day, we're going to discuss Circle. So let's see what was the plan on the Circle. Circle was our day to set up. As you guys know, we have been trading Circle every day. It's always our prime focus in the community, one of our top plays. So Circle, 219.50 support, 225 resistance, 1 hour support below. MTF setup, we always highlight the MTF, Ripster MTF setup. So let's see what was happening in the morning. As you see, the Circle has traded since it broke the 1 hour MTF, it faded. We showed it the other day. Yesterday it bounced, but today, again, today, something to note, you need to understand the market. What's the market trying to do? Even though the market was strong, these high flyers were weak. Circle was weak. PLTR was weak. Hood was weak. I even talked about it in my tweets. Let's see if I can show you that. So let's take a look here. What I mentioned in the morning. You see here. Let's go there. Let's take a look. So I mentioned that recent market darlings are taking a breather today. You can always find the sentiment, Uber, Hood, Coin, PLTR, Circle. So I could see the sentiment that money was flowing out of all these high flyers today, right? So that's how we caught the Circle short, and we'll talk about Coin short as well, right? And I did tweet about that as well when we were breaking down on Circle. Well, we can discuss PLTR next, but you can see that breaking MTF fade means MTF short here. And what happened next was I told the traders bear flag at 202, 200 target. We hit 200. I told the traders if 200 breaks, we are going to hit 194 next. You can lock 60% there. And you see right here, let's take a look here. MTF break, you can take an entry here, you can take entry here. Wherever you take an entry, your risk is right here at the 512. Even if you traded the 200 breakdown, that's fine. Your stops will be at $3, $4 right here. $3 risk to make $10. So we broke the 200, then we hit 194 target. Then I told the traders you can roll, buy more lottos with the profit on bounces. Right? So you see this bounce, we hit 188, you see this bounce, this is where you can add the lottos because we're rejecting the 512s, then we are still heavy. I told the traders Circle is not done yet. I gave the final stops of 197.50. I said, it's still failing, it's not done yet. And Ghostboard, we also had a lot of put flow. Ghostboard came in with a put flow on Circle as well, giving a little added confidence to the traders. And then we put our stops at 182. And so we took this short all the way, if you look at my pre-market planning, all the way from that 219 break, or even if you had an entry at 200, break of yesterday's lows, we took all the way to 175, right? I mean, nobody would, of course, hold these 3,000, 4,000% gains. For example, this 205 puts that I was talking in the community went from $1 to 28. What is that? $1,000, $28,000, $100 to $2,800. You don't need all of that move, but you can still make a substantial trade like a lot of traders in the community did today. Like this trader in the community, he followed the clouds on Circle all day, and he had a really, really good trade there as well. Hold the community, because my point of my community is always telling them and teaching them, just like I teach you guys on the X or YouTube, to hold, reduce your size. Who cares? Hold $100, $200, $300, whatever makes sense to you. Maximize the potential as long as the 512 clouds are not breaking. Because what happens is you take 20% profit on such a home run, and when you lose 50%. So you need to let these home runs work for you. Cover your P&Ls. Let it work for you, right? You see the whole community was on Circle all day long. We were on fading all day long. M-Trade was on it. Trader price was trading 200 puts there, right? So really great day on those Circle today. The whole community was on top of it. Let's look at some of the options, how you could have traded those options. Let's start with our 205 puts, which were the ones I was discussing with the community this morning. And let's see here on 205 puts, right? So let's take a look here. Let's go back. Let's see our 205 puts. All right, so these are 205 puts. Let me go to the 10-minute chart, and maybe you see more clearly. You see the 205 puts. They were trading at $3, $4, right? And when I was giving the target of 200, they hit $8. Once 200 broke, they hit $16, right? So let's say you are trading with $300 or $400, whatever makes sense to you, right? Of course, you need to understand what I teach about the risk reward. Let's say you're willing to risk $400. You made, it pushed to the 12, you made $800. Then you take some of that out, you make 600 out and leave rest of them. Maybe buy the lottos. Maybe you roll further into 190s when I told the traders to roll into 190s. So you can buy those 190s, you buy those 190 for $4 or $3 using the money you just made. And that $300 again went to make you another $1,000, right? You maximize your profits. That's why I say you roll. You will not get these home runs all the time, but when you do, you have to roll your lottos with the profit on the bounces. The lottos went 100% to 300% just from this fade. There's all day. So a trader asked me today, hey Rip, is it too late? My answer to him was, it's never too late, but you have to look, where is your risk, where is the reward? Yes, Circle, like I said, Circle would unwind. I talked about that. I know the personalities of these stocks, how big it moves, so it can really unwind when it unwinds. That's what I told on even my Twitter community as well. You see that I talked about Circle, both are short today. Lotto Friday, I mentioned it many times today, many times, and hopefully you guys also traded it. See, when it unwinds, it unwinds, right? Keeps going. There's nothing too low, right? So it's just 512, you hold it. So beautiful home run today. Really made the day for everybody in the community. Let's go to the next one. All right, so I'm going to go quickly through the rest of the trades. PLTR was an MTF short, although we closed our PLTR. If I show you here, we closed our PLTR. It was an MTF short. Our stops were 140 initially. 140 were our stops, and they rejected 140, faded to 136. We were targeting the MTF. We actually stopped out here because it curled over that. But at the end of the day, it just flushed, right? But there's a lot of money to be made here from 142s, 141s all the way to the downside, right? So that was PLTR. So let's look at the next one here. Next one we're going to look at is let's look at the coin here. What was coin doing? Coin was same setup, right? So coin was the similar kind of setup, although it was a breakdown of 3450. If you go back to my pre-market planning on coin, let's take a look. Coin was our level here. Where's our coin levels? Take a look here. The coin, our levels was 372 was our support. Don't forget that coin has been running for many days, right? It's a pullback, profit taking pullback. If you look at the daily chart, it just has so much range, right? It's a normal pullback, but you can make money on that normal pullback. You just have to watch your entries, right? So coin was bearish in the morning. I told the traders no longs, short from 370. You can see that I posted in first 15 minutes. MTF was the target I gave, 350. We hit the 350 target. Once 350 was gone, I told the traders 345 and 344 is your next target. We didn't really hit our 345, but we did hit almost close to 346. Our stops on rest were 355. Once it hit 355, we stopped out. We closed all our shorts on coin. So you can see that. So that's how you do it, guys. No BS, no hindsight. Everything live in the community, in the guidance to make. And you need to have a bias clean. It's not always that you want to be long. You should be able to short as well. I will probably do another webinar on the short setups as well. Uber was another one today, guys. Uber was another one, MTF short. I discussed in the pre-market as well on Uber that it's, you see that it was downgraded by tier 4 company. It doesn't really matter, but neutral to bearish bias under 92 was the short. That was the pre-market planning. Gave it in the pre-market, also tweeted it out. And you just short it once that level breaks and you short it and you short the pops to the 512s. Take it all the way down. Beautiful trade on Uber. So those were some of the shorts today, guys. Let's look at some other setups from the let's look at BA. I just want to look at BA. It was a beautiful trade. if you look at the pre-market game plan on Boeing, bullish bias to long, that was my plan. 205.50 was resistance, and Boeing ran all the way from that. This breakout held the 34.50. I think a lot of traders did trade Boeing in the community. Dion was on top of it, and a lot of other traders were long on Boeing all day. You see that long here, flag breakout. I was not focused, so I was focused on so many other plays, but my traders already know my teachings, and they're already trading it. You see Frying Pan was trading. Let's see, a lot of traders in the community were long. Maj was long, Rasta, Baba, Eddie, all the traders were long on the Boeing today in the community. So it was a really, really nice setup to trade on Boeing. All right, let's look at the last one here. Last one we're going to cover is a loser. That was our loser was Lily. Let's take a look at Lily. So what was happening on Lily here today? Let's take a I told the traders to long Lily, it's looking good, but right away it broke down and faded, and that was a $3-4 loss on Lily here. Was looking good. I thought it's going to break out of this 1 hour chart, but it failed. So many times trades will fail, but the thing you need to watch is if you had a 100% lot option, you lost it, you just have to cut it and move on. So that was Lily loser. All right, hopefully you guys learned a lot. Make sure you watch Lotto Friday playlist. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.